Why do so many people step into the markets believing they've finally found freedom, only to vanish a few months later with nothing but frustration and empty accounts? You see it everywhere. New traders arrive full of excitement, flooding discords and comment sections with screenshots, confidence, and dreams. They talk about quitting jobs, traveling, never working again. Then, one by one, the voices fade. No announcement, no goodbye, just silence. At first it feels like coincidence, but stay long enough and you realize it's a pattern. The market doesn't remove them. Their own minds do. They arrive chasing fantasy, not mastery. They're drawn by the illusion that trading is an escape from everything heavy in life: debt, stress, obligation. What they don't realize is that trading doesn't remove pressure. It amplifies it. The same patterns they try to escape, impatience, greed, fear, follow them straight into every chart. They come with stories they've seen online, screenshots of profit, quick success, promises of independence. They see the lifestyle but never the struggle behind it. On a demo account, everything feels simple. Click buy, it rises. Click sell, it falls. Instant dopamine. That tiny rush of confidence tricks the brain into believing mastery has arrived. But trading isn't a skill you learn in a week. It's a mirror that slowly exposes who you are when control disappears. Picture Musa, 22, restless, tired of watching his parents argue about bills. Late one night, he scrolls through social media and sees a post. "I made $1,000 today, bowing while I slept." That number burns into his imagination. He doesn't understand leverage, margin, or risk. He just sees possibility. The next day, he funds $50 and begins. The market gifts him luck. In a few days, he doubles the account. The rush feels like destiny. He starts visualizing cars, travel, status. Then one trade flips against him. He adds another. It turns worse. He doubles his size to recover. Within hours, the account evaporates. The high collapses into nausea. Instead of stepping back, he reloads the account. The pattern repeats until every dollar of savings disappears. The dream turns into shame. And in that moment, Musa joins the silent majority, the ones who quit. But Musa's failure wasn't random. It was predictable. Every trader begins there. The real question isn't whether you'll experience this phase. It's whether you'll survive it. The ones who make it past the chaos don't have different charts. They just learn faster that the market is not a machine that prints money. It's a mirror that reveals discipline or the lack of it. Most traders fail because they confuse excitement with progress. They want the emotional reward immediately. They expect trading to feel like winning even while they're learning. But trading mastery begins with boredom, frustration, and repetition. It's slow, silent work. Chart journaling, reflection, rule building, data review. No applause, no dopamine. That's why most stop. The market punishes fantasy with precision. It doesn't respond to your dreams. It reflects your habits. Trade emotionally and you will be punished. Trade mechanically and you'll slowly be rewarded. The problem is that mechanical discipline feels dull and the brain craves stimulation, so beginners drift back to chaos because chaos feels alive. Most people never build the patience required because they mistake temporary pain for permanent proof they're not cut out for it. But pain isn't failure. Pain is tuition. Every loss teaches the nervous system how to endure uncertainty. And endurance is the hidden currency of trading. The longer you can stay calm while the chart tests your conviction, the closer you move toward consistency. Trading exposes emotional volatility faster than any other pursuit. A single candle can swing your mood from confidence to despair. That instability is what breaks most traders. They don't realize that the emotional roller coaster is the curriculum. The market is testing emotional control, not intelligence. Imagine Musa if he had understood that truth. After losing his first account, instead of chasing, he journals the trade. He studies risk, calculates position size, backtests his entries. The next month he loses less. The month after that he breaks even. 6 months later, small consistent wins appear. 2 years later, he no longer trades for excitement, he trades for execution. That is how transformation happens, slowly, quietly, invisibly, until one day discipline replaces emotion. The difference between those who disappear and those who endure is not talent but tolerance. How much discomfort can you survive without losing structure? Because the market rewards time in the chair. The more you stay, the more data you collect. The more data you collect, the sharper your instincts become. Consistency grows from exposure, not from luck. Another reason most traders quit is unrealistic timelines. Society teaches instant reward. Scroll, tap, like, reward. Trading is the opposite. You might work 6 months just to understand what not to do. That's why it feels unfair, but it's only unfair to people expecting speed. To those expecting growth, it's perfectly balanced. Ego kills more traders than any pattern or candle ever could. Ego demands to be right. Ego wants the market to prove your intelligence. The moment you attach identity to outcome, you're finished. Because the market will always find a way to humble you. Humility isn't optional. It's enforced. The faster you accept that being wrong is part of being consistent, the longer you last. Fear is the twin of ego. When you lose, fear tells you to stop trading forever. When you win, ego tells you that you're untouchable. Both voices are traps. Real mastery lives in silence between them. That's where discipline operates, calm, detached, focused only on execution. At this point, you might be wondering why anyone keeps going. Because on the other side of this chaos lies something most people never experience: internal stability. The market can swing violently, but inside you remains calm. That state isn't luck, it's trained. It's earned through exposure to uncertainty until your nervous system stops reacting. Comparison is another invisible toxin. Scroll through online trading circles, and you'll see profit screenshots, big gains, highlight reels. You'll never see the blown accounts, the tears, the doubt. Comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10 is emotional suicide. Growth measured against others always feels slow. Growth measured against your former self always feels meaningful. Impatience is the quiet assassin. Everyone says they want consistency, but few are willing to build the habits that create it. Journaling feels tedious. Reviewing trades feels repetitive. Waiting for A setups feels boring. So they chase movement instead of mastery. They crave excitement, and the market gives them what they crave: chaos. Trading mastery is exponential. For months you feel flat. Then, seemingly overnight, everything connects. Emotions stabilize, setups make sense, entries align with context. It looks like sudden skill, but it's just compounded experience finally paying interest. The tragedy is that most people quit 1 week before that happens. If you're serious about mastering these principles, my new book, Mind Before Profit, goes deeper into every lesson we cover here. You'll learn how to rewire your psychology, compound discipline, and build consistency from the ground up, because without psychological structure, no strategy can save you. So, what separates those who last from those who leave? Endurance. The ability to sit through uncertainty long enough for skill to mature. Pain is the process. If you run from it, you restart endlessly. If you stay with it, you grow beyond it. The market rewards one thing: time in the chair. Every trader who survives long enough to taste success eventually realizes that this game isn't about markets. It's about mastering yourself. Charts are neutral, candles are emotionless, and prices move with or without your permission. The market doesn't care who you are, how much you've studied, or what your dreams look like. It only cares about probabilities. The only variable that truly matters is whether you can remain stable while probabilities play out. That's why most people fail. They mistake emotion for information and reaction for control. They don't understand that every chart pattern is secondary to the mental pattern behind it. When you first start trading, you think your biggest enemy is volatility. You think if you can just predict price movement, you'll win. But volatility isn't the problem. Volatility is opportunity. The real threat is what volatility triggers inside you. That flash of panic when price moves against you. That rush of greed when it finally goes your way. The market isn't testing your knowledge. It's testing your nervous system. It's asking whether you can remain calm while everything screams at you to act. Think about it. Every losing trader knows what they're supposed to do. Cut losses, stay patient, follow the plan. But when it's real money on the line, their behavior changes. They freeze when they should act and act when they should wait. That disconnect between logic and execution is where the battle truly happens. The brain's survival instinct overrides discipline. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline. You stop trading the chart and start trading your feelings. That's why you lose. Not because you lack strategy, but because you never trained your biology to cooperate with your logic. Most traders never see this because they're busy searching for external answers, new indicators, new mentors, new systems. They chase strategy because strategy feels like control, but you can't fix an internal problem with external tools. The strategy isn't broken. Your discipline is. The plan works when you work the plan. But sticking to the plan requires one skill most people never develop: emotional regulation. Emotional control isn't something you download. It's built through repetition and awareness. You learn it by losing, reflecting, and coming back without resentment. Every loss you survive with composure rewires your response. Over time, the gap between reaction and response widens. That gap is your advantage. The wider it becomes, the harder it is for the market to control you. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Trading is supposed to hurt. It's supposed to feel uncomfortable because discomfort is the signal that you're growing. Every blown account, every losing streak, every moment of frustration is a test of whether you'll grow or quit. People think success feels good. It doesn't, not at first. It feels like frustration stretched over years until one day the lessons click. Then suddenly, the same pressure that used to break you becomes fuel. Most traders quit because they misinterpret that discomfort. They think pain means something's wrong. They think fear means they're not cut out for it. But pain is the proof that you're in the process. Fear is a sign that your boundaries are expanding. The only people who never feel fear are the ones who never push their limits. There's a psychological concept called the illusion of control. Humans crave certainty. When the market doesn't give it, the brain panics. That's why traders add unnecessary indicators or switch strategies mid-trade. They want reassurance. They want confirmation that they're right. But real traders learn to exist without that reassurance. They learn to execute under uncertainty because that's what the job demands. They stop asking the market for comfort and start creating comfort from within. Here's what separates the top 1% from everyone else. They build systems to replace emotion. Their routines become armor. They wake up at the same time, review charts the same way, risk the same percentage, write in the same journal. That structure creates stability. The amateur calls it boring. The professional calls it freedom. The difference is perspective. You can always spot the traders who are about to quit. They speak in absolutes. This doesn't work. I'll never figure this out. They talk like victims of randomness. But trading doesn't punish people who learn. It punishes people who stop learning. Every mistake carries information. The problem is that most people are too busy defending their ego to collect it. They treat losses like personal insults instead of professional feedback. The day you start analyzing your mistakes without emotion is the day you begin evolving. Another subtle reason people quit is cognitive fatigue. The brain has a limited capacity for decision making. Every choice you make, what to trade, when to enter, whether to close, drains that capacity. That's why discipline feels harder at the end of the day. Professionals anticipate this. They limit the number of decisions they make. They automate what they can, simplify what they can't, and protect their focus like capital. Beginners do the opposite. They overtrade, overanalyze, and drown themselves in noise. Exhaustion follows. Once you're mentally drained, quitting feels logical, even responsible. But it's not logic. It's fatigue disguised as wisdom. Fear of loss is another invisible trap. Most traders think they fear losing money, but that's not quite true. What they really fear is what losing says about them. Every loss scratches the ego. It whispers, "You're not good enough." That emotional narrative is what drives revenge trading. You're not trying to recover the money. You're trying to recover your self-esteem. But markets don't care about your feelings. They'll humble you until you separate self-worth from outcome. The day you stop needing to win to feel capable is the day you start trading objectively. Let's talk about the illusion of progress. Many traders mistake activity for advancement. They spend hours staring at charts, watching videos, reading books, convincing themselves they're improving. But improvement isn't time spent, it's patterns changed. If you keep repeating the same behaviors, the market will keep giving you the same results. Progress requires deliberate practice. Structured repetition with reflection. That's what journaling is for. It's not a diary. It's your feedback loop. Without it, you're flying blind. Financial pressure magnifies every weakness. If you're trading rent money, every loss feels catastrophic. You can't think clearly when survival is on the line. That's why professional traders always say, trade with what you can afford to lose. It's not arrogance, it's psychology. Trading from a place of desperation activates the fight or flight response. Your brain stops analyzing probabilities and starts chasing relief. That relief seeking is what causes impulsive decisions. You can't execute a calm strategy with a survival mindset. Comparison kills focus. The more you look at others, the less you see your own growth. Every trader's timeline is different. Some learn in a year, others in 5. The market doesn't care how long it takes you. It only cares that you stay long enough to evolve. Stop measuring progress in days or dollars. Measure it in discipline, in how often you follow your plan even when you don't want to. That metric never lies. Ego wants praise. Discipline wants data. Ego chases big wins to impress people. Discipline chases small, consistent edges to build longevity. Ego makes you trade to prove something. Discipline makes you trade to improve something. One burns fast, the other compounds slowly. Which one you feed determines whether you last. There's also a deeper layer most never talk about: self-sabotage. Quitting often masquerades as rational decision-making. You tell yourself you're taking a break, stepping back, refocusing. But deep down, you're running from the discomfort of facing your own weaknesses. Quitting feels like relief in the moment, but it becomes a pattern. Each surrender strengthens the neural pathway that equates pressure with escape. Eventually, you teach your brain that quitting is safety. And the next time things get difficult, you'll quit even faster. To break that loop, you must stay in discomfort long enough for your brain to adapt. That's neuroplasticity at work. Every time you endure the urge to quit and keep going, you rewire your emotional response. You stop seeing struggle as danger and start recognizing it as the price of progress. That's how resilience is built. One moment of endurance at a time. Isolation compounds the problem. Trading alone means there's no external accountability, no one to challenge your self-doubt or correct your perspective. The silence becomes loud. Without community, small mistakes grow into monsters in your head. That's why professional environments matter. If you can't find one, create one. Talk to traders who are walking the same path. Share your mistakes, not just your wins. Growth accelerates when feedback is shared. The emotional cycle of trading is predictable. Hope, excitement, overconfidence, loss, despair, reset. Everyone goes through it. The difference is whether you recognize the cycle while it's happening. Awareness breaks repetition. Once you can see yourself from the outside, you can intervene before emotion becomes action. That self-observation is the hallmark of maturity. Here's something few discuss. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between a trading loss and physical danger. The body responds the same way. Elevated heart rate, tightened muscles, shallow breathing. If you don't train yourself to calm that reaction, every trade becomes a physiological war. Breathing, meditation, walking away. These aren't cliches. They're tools to reset your biochemistry so logic can return. Progress in trading is invisible for long stretches. It's the quiet shift from emotional to analytical thinking. It's noticing you no longer panic when you're down a few percent. It's realizing you can take a loss and sleep peacefully. That's mastery. Not perfect entries or constant wins, but peace under pressure. At some point, every trader hits what I call the void, that long stretch where nothing seems to work and motivation evaporates. The void is dangerous because it feels endless, but that's where growth consolidates. The brain is reorganizing information. The key is to stay consistent even when you feel stuck. Most people quit right there, unaware that the next phase, competence, was days away. Quitting becomes a habit if you repeat it enough. Every time you walk away mid-process, you reinforce the identity of someone who doesn't finish. To break that identity, you must finish something, even small. Close the journal. Review the trade, finish the week. Each completion rebuilds trust in yourself. Consistency isn't about perfection. It's about proof that you'll show up again tomorrow. Ultimately, trading mastery is a psychological evolution. At first, you trade to escape life. Then you trade to improve yourself. Eventually, you trade to express discipline. Not to win, but to see how well you can perform under uncertainty. That's when you've crossed from gambler to professional. The irony is that once you reach that stage, profit becomes a byproduct. You stop chasing money and start chasing precision. The market feels different because you've changed. The same chaos that once terrified you now feels like rhythm. You no longer need certainty because you've built inner certainty. That's what trading was trying to teach you all along. If you've made it this far, remember, this isn't just a video, it's a mirror. You can't control the market, but you can control the version of yourself that shows up to it. And that's where all consistency begins. If this message resonated with you, like the video, subscribe, and click the bell icon so you never miss an episode of Mind Before Profit, where traders learn to master psychology before chasing profit. Because mindset always moves first, price follows later.